It is Saturday in South Carolina.
Welcome back. The second episode of the Saturdays in South Carolina podcast. Randy Cambites, Bryce Jeffcoat back with you. Riding high after an opening win for the South Carolina Gamecocks, a win over Virginia Tech 24-11 that carried a lot of momentum for the Gamecocks throughout the early part of this week, all the way to a top 10 ranking in the AP poll. So it's a great day to be a Gamecock. It's a great weekend to be a Gamecock.
How about the Gamecocks? Coming out strong, opening the win. Can't go undefeated if you don't win the first one, right?
That's right.
So pretty good. Good opening for the Gamecocks at a neutral site in Atlanta. Something we haven't been able to win. A place we have not been able to win in a long time.
No, it's a crazy stat. The last quarterback to win a game for the Gamecocks in Atlanta. You have any idea?
Sunshine,
Ronnie Bass. How about that? Shout out Sunshine. No idea what game that was, why he would have been playing in Atlanta. But so it's been a while since we won a game in Atlanta. We hadn't really fared well in neutral site games.
Yeah.
In season, I think our last neutral site win was a bowl game over UNC, maybe the Mayo Bowl. So it had been a minute, but good to get back. Neutral site win. Good to start the season off with a win. Wasn't completely pretty.
No.
After the first drive, I was pretty sure we were going to win the national title. But then, offense kind of stalled. We got the highlights up on the screen right now. Just saw the North get killed. Our left guards, there's some work to do, but we'll break it down in depth. So we'll start off breaking down, I guess, just the game in general over Virginia Tech.
Sure.
Came off really hot start. We talked about the first drive. I mean, didn't place a foot wrong on that first drive. 75 yards, and it looked like we were just going to steamroll Virginia Tech, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable opening. So all props to Shula coming out with a perfectly scripted drive. You could tell that we were in rhythm, on pace with the script. Come out, we hit flats wide open for explosive plays, being able to throw RPO glances to Nick Harbor for explosive plays, capped off with the Norse showing off his legs and why he's a front-running Heisman candidate. So incredible opening drive from the Gamecocks, without a doubt. Thought that we were going to be in a we were going to boat race Virginia Tech, which obviously that proved to not be the case as the game kept going on.
Yeah, no. So obviously after the first drive, came back out, got a stop, and ended up kind of stalling out on offense. To the point where, no points scored up until a field goal later on in the game. But didn't matter because of the high quality of play from our defense. The defense carried the day. Early, Kyron Drones, everybody has said coming out of the game, it's the worst game he played as a quarterback, and a lot of it was the pressure that we got on him. Our defensive line looked great. Dylan Stewart had, I believe, 5 pressures,
without a doubt,
which was crazy. He had an awesome sack where he actually started the sack. He jumped into the sack from 7 yards away, which, everybody's saying he's the funniest sack artist in the nation just because, he doesn't do it boring, for sure.
No doubt. You never know when he's going to unload a machine gun clip into the chest of a quarterback after he sacks him.
So, the downfall, I think, the only negatives defensively would have been like J.R. Johnson just go down in the end zone and ended up costing us a safety.
Yep, that was disappointing.
That's the only. It's hard to say that's a negative because it would have been points on that drive. They probably come away with 3.
Yeah.
If he doesn't pick that ball off.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with the way that we were able to contain a lot of inside runs. Coach Beamer talked about at the event you were able to attend, talked about our tackles being a worry for him.
Yeah.
But we were able to, our tackles being a worry on defense, but we were able to kind of contain the run for the most part. Gave off a couple explosive plays on the perimeter, some corner tackling, stuff like that. Some stuff where we got to sharpen up, especially as we get into SEC play with guys that are a lot more, dominant and physical. So that's kind of, just some spots to work on moving forward.
Yeah, so Monkel Goodwine and Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, very impressed with both of them. Like you said, once we get into SEC play, it'll be a little different. Just because, not saying Virginia Tech's not a quality ball club, but they're not. We'll really get an idea. They play Vanderbilt this week, which is who we'll spin around and play in week 3. So we'll get an idea about how they stack up to
Yeah.
other SEC programs this weekend. So real excited to watch that game between those two programs. I think the talk of the defense 100% should be Fred J.R. Johnson. 10 tackles. I noted during the game he was flying around everywhere. I probably, during the game, even had some harsh criticism for Sean Murphy.
Yeah.
His number 0 is the linebacker playing beside J.R. Johnson. Excuse me, J.R. Johnson's number 0. Or Sean Murphy's number 7. I had some harsh criticism for him, which watching the game back, probably unfounded, probably not as bad as it looked live, just because he's playing beside J.R. Johnson, who finished the game with 10 tackles, the pick. He was named SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Only a sophomore was, Debo Williams gave him a lot of hype over the offseason. But man, he was everywhere in the backfield.
And when you're able to have linebacker play and guys that can absolutely cover sideline to sideline at linebacker, then you're in for a stellar defense, especially with the D-line that we have. So really excited for kind of what we can do. Going a day, giving up 0 touchdowns in an opening game against an ACC opponent, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was just, a big change in the philosophy in that linebacker room from the start of Beamer's tenure to now. It went from trying to find linebackers. They tried it with guys like Slate. I can't remember the guy's name. Plays at Mississippi State now. Stone Blanton. That's what it is. Stone Blanton. Yeah, tried it with him. Guys that just good linebackers in high school. Didn't work out, obviously. So they were like, let's just get some big fast guys back there. Kind of working out. Sean Murphy, probably a little too much hate just because J.R. Johnson looked so good, and then Justin Okoronkwo, who was a dog. He looked really good beside J.R. Johnson. Sean Murphy and Okoronkwo are two guys that Nick Saban went out of his way, said you can come play linebacker for me. Went to Germany to get Okoronkwo, and it's like that kind of says a lot about those guys' ability. So very impressed with the linebacker room. The DBs. There's a little bit of worry about the DBs. I thought Judge Collier looked great. There were a couple times where he didn't make a play on the ball, but he covered very well all day.
And unfortunately at the corner position, you're going to get put in a lot of places where you're going to have to make a one-on-one play on balls in the air, and we weren't able to make those plays on Sunday, and we are going to have to be able to make some of those plays moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be something to watch. Judge Collier left early with an injury. He's probably Brandon Cisse. He's probably going to be viewed as the CB1 on the team just because of the big time transfer and experience, and they'll expect a lot from him. But Judge Collier started for us all last year and played really well. Hopefully, I don't expect him to play Saturday, but hopefully by the time we get to Vanderbilt, he'll be back. But that gives us a chance to talk about the guy who replaced him, Vakari Swain, who we saw a clip here a second ago, him getting pass interference and giving up a catch at the same time, which was unfortunate. But he started the game as the punt returner, which was because of Judge Collier's injury, who was going to run some punts back for us. And then Jalen Kilgore was also going to be back there. Both of them kind of, not full go, so they threw Vakari Swain back there, and he muffed the first one. He put the first one on the ground and had to, kind of scramble to fall on it. And they took him out for a couple. They stuck him back there. Again, he got it, penalty, re-kick, Vakari Swain back there. And he kind of ices the game for us, even though, up to that point, his day had not necessarily gone as he would like. He got back there and made the play when his number was called, ran a punt back, which was electric. The atmosphere in there was insane.
Absolutely electric. Talk about a Shane Beamer team without, having a special teams explosive play like that. That's just incredible.
A Beamer ball play was inevitable in Virginia Tech versus South Carolina, which was awesome. Especially to have Frank Beamer on site for that game.
Let's talk about the incredible coaching decision too. To make him re-kick it because naturally, absolutely, you want to make him re-kick it, but it's super easy to say, hey, we're in a fine spot. Let's add the 5 yards to the start of the play in an even better position. No, they said let's re-kick it and see what we can do on a punt return.
Absolutely, which was huge. I think we would have had the ball around the 35, so great field position. We're up 6 at the time.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're only up 2 at the time.
Maybe just 2,
We're up just 2 at the time. But gather the ball, you have momentum, you're winning the game, you have more time to chew clock. Like, there's plenty of reason to just
knowing
take
that
it.
he also dropped the first one.
Yeah,
Talk
exactly.
about trusting your guy.
Trust your guy, sending him back out there and say, you know what, I want the ball in your hands, go make something shake.
How about that?
And sure enough, he did.
He
So
sure
awesome.
did.
Great for Bakari Swain. Nice for him. He was named Special Teams Player of the Week, SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. So South Carolina knocked down 2 of those awards, which was awesome. And be real interesting to see. I assume at the moment, he's going to keep running them back until somebody takes that spot. That was South Carolina's first punt return since 2013. Ace Sanders ran one back in the Outback Bowl against Michigan in 2013. Ace Sanders. Somebody said that was maybe the greatest punt return of all time at South Carolina. And I was like, it was really good. It was great, but I did direct it. I was like, you need to go watch Ace Sanders. Ace Sanders 2012 against Georgia. I will always hold as the greatest punt return of all time.
Yeah. I mean, he was unbelievable and one of the greatest. Yeah, the greatest just pure special teamers.
He was.
In college football, which is he's so underlooked. G.A. Mangus said he's the greatest returner, kick returner he's ever seen.
I believe it. I mean, he's his. You could make a whole highlight tape of just kick and punt returns from Ace Sanders. His college highlight tape is up there with some Tavon Austin stuff. So that says a lot. But yeah, to have another punt return under the belt, it was really good for Gamecock fans.
Super exciting.
That was the first time we got Sandstorm all day too. I was in the stadium and they did not play Sandstorm all day until about 2 minutes left in that TV timeout after that punt return. The crowd had kind of settled back down. They queued up Sandstorm and that place went ballistic. And to cap that with Virginia Tech fans kind of realizing that the game is now, you're probably not coming back, and then for them to kind of put Sandstorm on was really raining on Virginia Tech fans' parade. It was supposed to be a neutral site game, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there was nothing neutral about it.
It was 75-25 South Carolina.
Oh,
There was South Carolina sold out our ticket allotment, which got us $4.5 million from the Peach Bowl, which in the modern era of rev share, where you can give out $20.5 million to athletes in your programs, having $4.5 million that maybe wasn't counted on in a regular season game.
How about that?
Is really nice. So that's something that the common fan probably not pay attention to, but as a big business guy and behind the sports stuff, that was cool to see. Another guy on that punt return, Jerron Willis, did a really good job opening that up. He's a linebacker. He didn't play a whole lot, but he played a lot on special teams. Had a chance to just knock a guy's helmet off and just destroy him. And he comes in, hands up, just kind of runs into him, slows him down. And a real selfless play by Jerron Willis. Instead of clipping a highlight for himself,
of course,
he sprung his guy for a block. So Jerron Willis was awesome on that play. Some other things to talk about. Nick Barrett was another defensive tackle who was really, really good. Brownlow Dindy, we mentioned him on the defensive line. He was the second highest graded player, according to Pro Football Focus, on our defense behind J.R. Johnson. So maybe the defensive tackle room is not as bad, or is not as much of a worry as we thought. And maybe this defense is actually something that we can kind of ride.
Incredibly encouraging.
Another encouraging sign in that game, before we turn the page and focus on South Carolina State this week. Anybody who plays college football, 25 or 26, knows it's kind of cool that South Carolina's the team. You play an online game. There's a pretty good chance of loading in playing at South Carolina just because Lenore Sellers and Nick Harbor are such cheat codes.
Having 2 players that
are like that, and you'll most often see, let's just throw it deep to Nick Harbor, and we finally got it. IRL, we finally got it in a game. Late in that game, we were up 9, I believe, at the time. We were up, I think we would have been up 6 at the time. 17-11.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're up 17-11, and just turned Nick Harbor loose. Just said go.
Yeah, it was awesome. We come back in a diamond formation in the backfield, really get the box tight, stayed in one high, and told Nick Harbor, hey, get inside the corner and run as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And when we tell Nick Harbor, we get him in situations just to tell him to run as fast as he can, he's gonna be in a good spot.
He's gonna win that foot race 10 times out of 10. He was clocked on that specific play as the fastest player in college football this week, 22.4 miles per hour.
There we go.
Which is insane. It was to the point the corner tried to take a 15-yard penalty. He reached out and tried to grab Nick Harbor's jersey.
Couldn't reach.
And it was too far. It was already too far gone.
How about that?
Which was awesome. I would have liked to have seen him, I would like to see them stretch the field earlier in the game because the box got real tight. And I think I texted you at halftime, just, pick your brain on what you were seeing. And that was the thing that you responded with. We need to kind of, air the ball out. The box is getting real tight down there.
Right, and kind of what's really frustrating too, and which is really a kind of a big eye opener for us moving forward, is that although the box was getting tight, they were still staying in a too high shell.
Yeah,
which means that the box should not be that tight. We should be able to get runs off, and we were losing guys inside and not getting runs off. So something we're going to have to fix. We're going to play. We're going to play a lot better defenses.
We are.
And if we can't run the ball at all,
yeah,
and put it all on the North, it's gonna put them in a bad spot.
Yeah, there was a lot of maybe it was the Pat McAfee show. There was it was a Sunday 3 p.m. game.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the country who cares about college football was watching. There's nothing else on.
Yep.
And a lot of the talk coming out of it was how good we looked, and are we? I think we're really a playoff, or people think we're really a playoff contender, and
for sure.
And Lenore Sellers' Heisman odds have bumped up incredibly to the point where he's the second favorite, and that just was. It was an unexpected sentiment to come out of that game for me, who I'm sitting there in the game. So the only feedback I have is from people in the stadium. I'm not on my phone much during the game, and not listening to commentators or anything. And to get the national media reaction yesterday was that we look so good. This defense looked elite. South Carolina looks like they can really run the ball at a high level. And Lenore Sellers, talking about him being giving the Heisman. I was like, wow. I almost felt like we watched two different games. So I didn't feel. I look at some games down the line now, like LSU and like Ole Miss and Texas A&M, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel worse about those games, I think, coming out of this week than before because we should have won by 20. They took a touchdown away from Nick Harbor. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of times in the game where drives stalled out for Virginia Tech because Kyron Jones missed a pass or because a receiver got hit in the hands and dropped it. Open receivers.
And that was the other thing I wanted to point out, too, is that we lucked up on defense a couple times.
We did.
Where we couldn't make plays with the ball in the air anyway. Yeah. So we gave up explosive plays, and then we should have gave up more explosive plays, and the receivers just dropped them. Yeah.
So it was something to where I'm not going to accuse these national media people of just not watching the game, but it was something where me sitting through that whole game, I left it. I don't want to say I felt worse about our team because it was week one.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't feel like I had some questions answered other than in the defensive tackle room. I felt a little bit better about that. But yeah, because covering guys is only one thing. So I would like to see, we saw the Clemson LSU game where Avion Terrell had, the big 6'7" dude locked up, and it just doesn't matter. It's 6'7", 6'7". Right. So like, you don't think we're gonna see that in Death Valley?
Exactly.
Week 5?
Exactly right. But the good thing about week 1, with Carolina, Virginia Tech, is that we found out exactly where we really need to focus, work on, and when you can do that, when you can figure those things out and win the game, then.
Yeah,
so no need to complain.
That's the coaching aspect now. Let's look at it with your coach's brain. How do you feel after week 1 going into week 2? Watch the whole game. You saw, of course we're not in practice every day.
Sure.
What would your focus be when we play South Carolina State on week 2, which is, no disrespect to South Carolina State, but everybody's going to look at this for South Carolina as a let's get right, like let's clean some stuff up before Vanderbilt comes to town.
Sure.
So what would you be focused on this week in practice and then in the South Carolina State game?
And when it really comes down to it, that is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You're playing a less team. South Carolina State's getting some money to play this game. Obviously, we have to go out and perform. But the biggest thing is that's a game that when you take away, you need every player on both sides of the ball grading out high.
Yeah.
And now I'm not talking about whatever, if it comes to PFF grades, stuff like that. When it comes to your position coach grading you out in that game, we want to see all guys 80s and above. Are we doing our job defensively? Are we getting to the right gaps, or are we not? Are we just trying to blow up these lesser players and make plays?
Yeah.
Or are we playing our gap and being a great defense, rallying to the ball and stuff like that? Because when you can do that You can play really good teams that are better than you, and get victorious when everyone does their job and is on the same page. That's what makes a good team great.
Yeah.
So that's the focus going into week 2 against South Carolina State.
Yeah. So I think that should be real important. Should be, don't look and see did Carolina cover the spread against South Carolina State this week, because you can cover the spread and play bad.
No doubt.
Like I have no conclusions to draw from Ole Miss versus Georgia State just by they beat them by 63.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch that game,
right?
So I have no idea how they got there. But Ole Miss fans may be feeling good, like, hey, we won this game by 63.
Yeah.
And it's like, how'd you get there? So yeah, I think it'd be real important to see. Hopefully, that kind of wraps up our Virginia Tech talk. So
Sure.
Turning ahead to SC State, like you said, it's a bye game. You're playing an in-state opponent that we are expected to beat pretty heavily. They are coming off a season opening win as well, so they are 1-0. They took on Wofford in week 1 and beat Wofford, which in the state of South Carolina, that's something. Wofford's normally a pretty decent football club. So 1-0. They have I don't know how much there is to say that we can say about South Carolina State. Even having names and stuff in front of me, it's not going to matter. They're an FCS opponent. Nobody's going to know the names anyways. But don't want to overlook them, So it's, I don't think that. I think you've already said it. Just you don't go out there and just beat them because it's a less. They're not going to have nowhere near the money. These guys probably aren't getting much, if any, NIL money. These guys were not going to have stars beside their name in the recruiting battles and all that. So it's it's just important to do your job and to take care of business. And hopefully, the backups are in by the third quarter. Hopefully Lenore Sellers plays 2 quarters and is done, and then we get to see Aaron Nolan, or we get to see Cutter Woods. Luke Doty's listed as the backup on the depth chart for this week, but I don't think he'd be the second guy out there, unless maybe for a drive or so.
Sure.
And South Carolina has released a depth chart for this week, which they didn't really give us one last week. So there's really no big changes on the depth chart. Oscar Adway is listed as the starting running back over Rasul Faison,
which was the case in Virginia Tech.
Yeah, he played 37 snaps to Russell's 20, and had, I think, 17 carries to Russell's 7.
Yeah.
So it made sense that he's listed as the number 1. R.J. Newsom is listed as the starting left guard. Him and Marquis Anderson split the job at left guard, and we talked about it. Left guard was a real problem for us on Sunday. So that's probably the area to watch the most. If you're going to watch this game, I mean, everybody's going to watch this game, South Carolina football. If you're going to watch this game and try to draw something from it, other than, did South Carolina score 50 points, watch left guard. See who's playing and see how they perform. Because R.J. Newsom, and he graded out, I think he had 17 pass blocking snaps. PFF graded him at 25 out of 100. It's one of the lowest grades I've ever seen in football, in any of their grading. He was replaced by Marquis Anderson, who took 9 snaps. He graded out at a 0 on his 9 pass block snaps. So
get him out.
Yeah, so not good. We know Marquis Anderson. He was a highly sought after recruit.
Yeah.
Rodney Newsom Jr. Is a super senior, so he's a 6-year guy. But the guy who I think is expected to lock down that spot is freshman Shed Surratt. He was injured, didn't get the chance to play against Virginia Tech.
Right.
If he can go, it's not a situation where, like, if Lenoris is dealing with a nagging injury, you just hold him out against South Carolina State. You don't need him.
Yeah.
This is a freshman, like, you need him. This is the game where you want him to play to get reps. So if he can go, hopefully he can go, and we can get Shed Surratt out there. He's listed on the depth chart as the backup. So we'll see if he actually, gets the chance to go out there and play left guard. Because I think offensive line, people said South Carolina's offensive line looked terrible, and gave up so many, gave up the safety, gave up 4 sacks to Lenore Sellers. Which, if you're giving up 4 sacks with Lenore Sellers, that means you probably should have given up 7 or 8. Which I think that grade's true if you watch the full game, because Lenoris
got out of a couple.
He got out of a couple, as he always does. It'll be interesting to see. I would love to see Shed Surratt get a chance out there, because a lot of the issues, it wasn't across the whole offensive line. It was from the left guard area, and that one one weak link just kind of folded in the whole offensive line a couple times.
Yeah, and that'll be the case at O-line. I mean, that it is a collective unit for sure. If one position, doesn't act accordingly, then it's going to fall apart. But I mean, overall, I really don't think the entire offensive line did not, perform great.
No. It's not. It was not all on the left guard. The whole offensive line, missed assignments and didn't play tremendous.
Right.
So you definitely want to pick that up. We got some. I mean, Case and Henry, Trayvon Boaz Stanley, and Josiah Thompson. The other four guys on the line are not free of blame, but those four guys did play every pass block snap. So those four guys, at the moment, it seems those are the other four guys on the line. It's just the left guard spot we got to figure out. And it felt like Shed Surratt, the freshman, was going to have that spot until came up with an injury just before the game. The other injury news was Judge Collier left the game very early. Thought it might have been a real big issue with the knee. Apparently, it's not, according to Shane Beamer in his press conference today. He should be okay, which Shane Beamer's press conference just popped up on the TV. He said that Judge Collier is doubtful for this week.
Sure.
Which he's a guy. We talked about Shed Surratt. If he can go, he goes. Judge Collier's, I would say there's no chance he's playing. You know? And that just to build depth behind him. You got Miles Norwood who played a little bit. And you got guys like Bakari Swain who, he played the whole entire game after Judge Collier went out just about at corner. So get those guys some more reps and see what goes on there. So I definitely think this game, it's, like I said, we have some info pulled up in front of us on South Carolina State, but it's more so going to be, an internal type of preview on what are we looking at, what are we looking to see from South Carolina, and I think left guard and then cleaning up some communication in the pass game from linebackers. There were a couple of times where linebackers got confused out of the backfield. I mentioned Sean Murphy was one time specifically I saw him get confused and ended up busting a big play down the sideline. So I would like to see that. I think that would, that's probably the goal for the weekend.
And that's
stuff up.
So every one of our coaches is preaching to the guys right now is, hey, we're gonna take this and blank ourselves out to the opponent. Okay? It is absolutely about us. It's about executing what we do. And that's what they try to tell them every single week. When you're going into a game that you're supposed to win by a lot of points, it's a lot easier to kind of get that message across. But 100%. I mean, they're telling them right now, hey, we got to focus on what we do and get good at it. So
So only other things to talk about. We talked about it on the first pod. The special teams joke that that Hunter Beamer had for Shane Beamer at the media luncheon we got to go to, and said that Beamer ball is dying. Beamer ball is not dead.
Very much alive.
Very much alive. Mason Love. You could have put Kroger on the back of his jersey, and the only comment I would have had is, Kai Kroger looks a little smaller, but he still kicks the ball the same. I mean, Mason Love, through one game, and he redshirted last year. Go to every game. I like to get the games early. Like to watch warm-ups. He boomed the ball in warm-ups last year, so it was something I kind of expected to happen. But man, he looked great punting the ball. I think he averaged 48 yards a punt. Had 3 inside the 20. 4 of them went over 50 yards. He was excellent, and the punter situation looks to be in great hands for the next 4 years at South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean it's dire. It's a dire position when it comes. Nobody wants to punt, but if you can flip the field. Everybody talks about flipping the field. If you can, it's a battle of field position. And if you're having opponents start back behind the 25, where they would normally get a fair catch kickoff, then you're putting yourself in good positions.
Yeah, so that was major. We talked about how good the defense was, and a big part of that was because they always started in good field position. So I don't know if Kyron Jones. I think he completed 1 pass in our territory.
How about that?
And that was, that's because so much of their drives took place in their own territory because of the field flipping. So
I think after the safety, we gave up a big one, got them in our, got down to ours pretty quick. But again, when they got down there, the defense held.
They did. So not a lot to complain about. There's a lot to nitpick, but not a lot to complain about because we won the ball game.
There you go.
So the long snapper, I'm not sure who was long snapping, but that's good because that means they did their job and nobody was looking to call him out. He was perfect. Didn't ask a whole lot out of the kicking game, but what was asked was handled properly. So
that's
that
right.
was good. So
that's right.
That should be it for this week. That's it for our preview. We will we might do a little more in-depth preview on South Carolina State before
check them out maybe
before Saturday. We might do a little something in depth, and then maybe go through and kind of predict some games down the line based off what we've seen through 1 week. So,
yeah.
But that is our Virginia Tech recap and our early look at what we're looking for next week from the Gamecocks. So this is Saturday in South Carolina. Bryce Jeffcoat, Randy Cambites.
Go Cox.
Like, follow, subscribe for more. Go Cox.